Hi, Children's Trap. Achoo! Sorry. Hi, Children's Trap. Achoo! I'm going to put these flowers away. Hi, Children's Chapel. Today we're talking about flowers. It's springtime, and there are flowers everywhere. You can see them if you just walk outside your house. There are big ones, little ones, brightly colored ones, all sorts of beautiful flowers. But even though all these flowers are different, they all have one thing in common. They're part of a bigger plant. If you'll notice, every single flower is on a stem or a branch or another thing that connects it to a bigger plant. You've never seen a flower growing by itself in the middle of the air, have you? They all are part of something bigger. Each flower grows on a bigger plant because the flower needs nutrients. It needs water and minerals that come from the soil, up through the roots of the plant, up through the branches and the trunk, if it's a tree, into the little flower. If you took a flower off the plant, it would die. You've probably picked flowers before and seen this happen. Once you take a flower away from the rest of the plant, which gives it water and nutrients that it needs to live, it shrivels up, turns icky, and dies. So why are we talking about flowers today at Children's Chapel? Well, it's not just because they're pretty, and it's not just because it's springtime. It's because Jesus talks about plants in the Bible. When he's talking to his disciples, he says, "I am the vine, and you are like the branches or the flowers or the fruit that grows on the vine." Every flower and every piece of fruit needs to stay connected to the bigger plant, so all of that amazing water and nutrients can come up through the ground, through the soil, into the roots, up through the stem or the trunk, and into that beautiful flower. We are like those flowers, and God is like the bigger plant. All of the things that we need to live healthy, happy, safe lives come from the bigger plant. The love, the peace, the community, the connection, the joy that we need to be beautiful flowers, those come through the soil and the roots of God's love. When Jesus says that you're like the little flowers, he says that you should abide in the bigger plant. And abide means live. It means to live comfortably, to be surrounded by the warmth and the joy and the love of God. You abide in your house, which you fill with things that make you comfy and happy, right? When you're sleeping, you abide in your bed with all your pillows and blankets. A flower abides in its big plant, surrounded by other flowers, leaves, branches, and the roots that bring it everything it needs. God tells us, abide in me, be surrounded by me, be connected to me, get your nourishment from me. And it's not water and nutrients that we get from God, it's other awesome things, like peace when we're feeling stressed out, joy when we're feeling scared or sad, connection to our community through church, and to our history through our traditions. All sorts of amazing things that connect to us, just like the roots of a plant connect to the flower and help it grow and flourish. But if we're already flowers that live on God's branches, why does Jesus have to tell us to do that? We're already living in a world where we're surrounded by God. We can abide in God anytime. So why does Jesus use the Bible to remind us to do that? I think it's because it's easy for us to forget how connected we are to God and to the rest of the world. If a flower says, "I'm so pretty, I'm so bright, I don't need anything else," and decides to leave the tree, well, we know what happens. If we think that we don't need anybody or we don't need any help, then we'll be stuck and we won't be able to keep growing. Our job is to find ways to connect to the things that nourish us, like the flower connects to the bigger plant. We can connect by going to church, by watching these videos, by listening to music, by asking questions, by saying prayers, by spending time in nature. There's so many ways, just like how a plant has so many roots that can come up and connect to one flower. So today, let's all try to connect to those big, deep roots that God has planted for us. Let's remember the traditions that we learned in church and the community that connects us to. Let's go for a walk, take some deep breaths, and say, God, I want to abide in you. I want to be surrounded by you. I want to be connected to you and nourished by you, just like a flower on a big, big plant.